So Malachi has his debut tomorrow. What time is it at Malachi? Sundays it's usually, 5 p.m.? See, I should have been, I should have remembered your debut tomorrow so I could stand by the ring and go, me sole dell'alba, gritare con valore. Pre-show at 6:40 p.m. Rosehavenites, because Crim's story time should be from 5 to 6. So if we hang out at the Hairy Frog afterwards, we can go to the pre-show at 6:40, I think. So let's try. My real life might explode. I will do my best to be there. Sundays are the days where my husband goes, okay, time, we got time now, bye. And he kidnaps me away. So sometimes it's just chaos. It's absolute chaos. So, but anyway, welcome one and all. You know, October is the best month. Halloween, my favorite holiday. So I figured I would do a little concert to celebrate the best season in the year for me. Let me take a sip of my hot apple cider. And so today's concert is a little bit different. And as you can see, I've just gone completely off the over the top with the set, but I figured that Halloween deserved it. Today is a mixture of things. You are going to hear some spooky music, and you'll also hear some of my compositions. So I would like to start with a composition that I composed inspired by the legend of Baba Yaga. And of course, some of you may know Baba Yaga from different media, games and movies. But Baba Yaga is a Slavic spirit of nature who can be many things. Like many early deities and creatures of that nature, she can be absolutely terrifying. She can be a murderous crone that will eat you. She can also be an incredibly benevolent and helpful spirit. The thing about Baba Yaga, really, is that she acts in accordance to how you approach her. For example, in the Russian fairy tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful, you have, of course, evil stepmother and stepsister, wicked stepsister. They kick her out into, yes, she lives in a hut that moves on giant chicken legs. And to enter the house, you have to say, hut of brown, sit down, or many other separate rhymes. But in the tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful, this young girl is kicked out by her mother, who is an absolute beast, and her sister, ordering her to get fire for their fireplace because they're very, very poor and the fire has gone out. Vasilisa ends up going to Baba Yaga's hut. Eventually, she approaches her very, very respectfully, and ultimately Baba Yaga gives her she gives her one of the skulls that is hanging outside of her hut. Now, these skulls have eyes that glow almost like fire. And so, she brings it home to light the fire. And what happens is she brings home the skull to her evil, wicked stepmother, and the eyes of the skull incinerate both the mother and the stepsister because they're so wicked. So that's Baba Yaga. What is it? Oh, my husband's listening. So this is a piece that I composed inspired by the legend of Baba Yaga, by the tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful. And the reason I want to play it here is that Muse Score 4, which is what I used to compose, just recently upgraded their entire sound font pack. And now they have some very high quality music sound fonts. And, you know, the quality of the strings is so good, it almost makes me sound like a competent composer. So here we go, the story of Baba Yaga. I'm going to turn the microphone off so you can just hear it. And that was Baba Yaga. It is a canon for string quartet, but it is a 3-voice canon. And now we're going to move on to a classical piece. This is so Menotti, who is an Italian-American composer. He wrote many important operas in English, The Consul, The Telephone, but the one that is most fitting for this season is The Medium. The Medium is a story about a woman who is very much a huckster. She fools people into believing that she can contact their loved ones from beyond the grave. And she's not a very stable person. She has a daughter. She mistreats both. She's an alcoholic. And the opera opens up on what appears to be a regular day, but it soon starts going downhill as Mama's Baba, she goes by Baba, she begins to hear voices. She begins to hear voices, and she knows that it's not her daughter, and it's not the young man because he is mute. So she keeps hearing these voices that accuse her of things and sing this very, very creepy lullaby. And we never quite know if she is actually hearing things because of a guilty conscience, or if, or if she's actually hearing the accusing voice of a spirit. It ends in tragedy, of course, because it's a serious opera. So, but this piece, by the way, if you I had to move my note card giver to the proscenium over there above the stage because I kind of ran out of room on the floor level. I kind of went over the top preparing the stage. But so this is an aria from the medium where the daughter is trying to soothe her mother's frayed nerves by singing the lullaby of the Black Swan. And if you pay attention to the lyrics, you have to ask yourself, whoever thought that this would be a soothing lullaby? Well, here we go. The Black Swan.
The sun has fallen and it lies in blood. The moon is weaving bandages of gold. Oh, black swan, where, oh, where is my lover gone? Torn and tattered is my bridal gown, and my lamp is lost, and my lamp is lost. With silver needles and with silver thread, the stars stitch a shroud for the dying sun. Oh, black swan, where, oh, where has my lover gone? I had given him a kiss of fire and a golden ring, and a golden ring. Don't you hear your lover moan? Eyes of glass and feet of stone, shells for teeth and wheat for tongue. Deep, deep down in the river's bed, he's looking for the ring. Eyes wide open, never sleep, he's looking for the ring, looking for the ring. The spools unravel and the needles break, the sun is buried and the stars weep. Oh, black swan, oh, black wave, take me away with you. I will share with you my golden hair and my bridal crown, and my bridal crown. Oh, down with you, take me down to my wandering love, with my child unborn, with my child unborn.
And that was the Black Swan. So, now we're going to go to the next bit of creepy music. This one is a very morose, very sad piece. And if you want to hear more about my concerts, if you look to the right on the stage, right next to the tree, you will see with the tip jar, there's also the inviter for my group here in Second Life, as well as the subscriber. If you have maxed out your groups, because groups are a premium here, they're unobtainium. And also the invitation to my Discord server. I have a Discord server. There's people there. It's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, and definitely, this is the kind of song that you want to sing to your children so that they have nightmares. Yeah, it's bizarre because, of course, the Black Swan is sung by the daughter, so it's for a mezzo. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, mezzos and tenors can be interchangeable in where the voice sits in the stave. So now, which ballet? Okay, so now we have another creepy song that I think Morticia Adams would approve of. She would call it very, very cheerful or uplifting. This is Massenet's Elegie. No, Black Swan, no. So Black Swan is from the opera The Medium by Giancarlo Menotti. And it's about a swindler who is pretending to be a medium. And her conscience catches up with her. And things go south. Opera things happen, and eventually someone ends up dead, of course. But the creepy lullaby is something that the daughter sings to the huckster medium mother to calm her nerves. And, you know, it just doesn't work. But now we're going to go from a piece by Jules Massenet from the 1876 play Les Erinines, the Erinines, which, of course, is the Greek name for the Furies. But this is a piece, this is a play for which Jules Massenet wrote a lot of incidental music, which he then compiled into a collection called 10 pièces de genre, or 10 pieces of genre. And the Elegie that he wrote for it has become one of the most popular pieces by Jules Massenet. And as you can read, the poem is very, very droopy, very, very melancholic. I think it's perfect for the spookiness. So let's go ahead and I also like the opening. It opens in this octave and is and it's very it's like a ghost wail. It's a wail. It's I'm being miserable, so I'm gonna wail. And Jules Massenet just wrote it in there, and bless his heart, I love singing it. So, gotta step back and.
Autrefois, vers tes ans, vous avez fui pour toujours chez les bois bleus, les ciels bleus. Je n'entends plus le chant joyeux des oiseaux. En emportant mon bonheur, oh bien-aimé, Titanie est allée, et c'est en vain que revient le printemps. Oui, sans retour avec toi, les soleils
And that was the Elegie. I just got a message from Liberty. Let's see. Oh. See, this is what happens when you don't test. So apparently people are having issues accessing my tip jar and my group inviter because there's a clear prim in front of it, which I didn't see before. So let me just move that. I'm going to put it just floating up into the audience. It's Halloween. Things are floating. It's spooky. It's in theme. That's the excuse I'm going to give. So there it goes. It floats. Woo! Liberty, tell me if you have any issues with that one. So now we're going to go. No, there we go. Thank you, Kaisel. So now we're going to go and I'm going to play another composition for you. Not playing it because I don't have a harpsichord. This is, of course, generated by MuseScore with their amazing sound fonts, which make me sound almost like a competent composer. This is the full name of this piece is I Heard the Bells of Camelot, but it really is, it should be called The Lady of Shalott. It's inspired by the poem, and if you don't know the poem, I recommend that you look it up. Give me of Shalott. Actually, let me just pull it up. It's of course by Alfred Lord Tennyson, whom I adore. And I'm going to post it here in the chat so that you can listen to it. You can read it along as the music plays. It's inspired by the poem. And a bonus for anyone who identifies it, I deliberately included a 13th century musical theme into this piece as sort of the signal of fate, the curse. If anyone can name that motif, you will get, once I create them, because I am going to create them, my Opera Things Happen t-shirt, you will get a special edition of it. So listen along, and here it goes. I'm going to turn the microphone off because I'm not singing, I'm just playing, so here we go. Okay, so it looks like there was an issue with... I turned up the gain, and that seemed to have fixed it for that audio file. So hopefully that will have fixed it. Oh gosh, I seem to have bonked my... Uh-oh. It's doing... My laptop is doing something. Of course, you know, live performances. That's what happens. Okay. So now we have... Thank you, Carrie. My next piece is one that you've heard before, but I really had to sing it because when we're talking about spooky stuff, Kurt Weill really is up there in some stuff. He has some very unsettling music, harmonically, melodically. It's always kind of dark and beautiful. And of course, if we talk about dark and beautiful, then his Threepenny opera definitely has to be there. And yes, please do support this venue. They let me carry on and do crazy stuff like what you're hearing today. So please do contribute to this venue. And I always want to thank Crixus for always having me here. So now, of course, we're gonna hear me sing Mac the Knife, or Mackie Messer, the original version from the Threepenny Opera. As Krim has discovered, the actual original version is a lot more unsettling because it's just this organ grinder with his creepy little organ singing, you know, da, 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 and the organ in the background. Unfortunately, I have never been able to find the backing track of the organ grinder's organ, so I could sing it in full authenticity. But I found this really nice orchestral adaptation of it, so I'm going to sing it over. What was that, Taka? Kurt Weill always sounds like the music is half a second away from going off the rails, but it never does. Yes, that's actually what Kurt Weill does very well. He is kind of like the wrangler of controlled chaos, and I love him for it. So without further ado, we have Mackie Messer, or Mac the Knife.
Und der Haarfisch, der hat Sehne, und die trägt im Gesicht. Und Mackies, der hat ein Messer, doch das Messer sieht man nicht. An den schönen blauen Sonntag liegt ein toter Mann am Strand, und ein Mensch geht um die Ecke, den man Mackie Messer nimmt. Und Schmulmeier bleibt verschwunden, und so manche reiche Mann. Und sein Geld hat Mackie Messer, dem man nicht beweisen kann. Jenny Tauler ward gefunden mit nem Messer in der Brust. Und am Kai geht Mackie Messer, der von allem nichts gewusst. Und die minderjährige Witwe, deren Namen jeder weiß, wachte auf und war geschändet. Mackie, welches war dein Preis? Und die einen sind im Dunkeln, und die anderen sind im Licht. Doch man sieht man nicht, doch man sieht nur dem Lichte, dem Dunkeln sieht man nicht.
Yes, it is about a serial killer. What would Halloween be without a slasher somewhere in there? So now I'm going to play another piece of mine. It's called the Wisps, and of course, if you know your folklore and mythology, the Wisps are usually trickster spirits that lure the unwary passersby into a potential death, or at least to stray from their path. So here is the Wisps, and I will go ahead and I will pump the gain up. I have to remember that I'm at 6.3 decibels, and I'm going to pump it up way up for this. Yes, Erlkonig, yes. Okay, here we go, the Wisps. back to 6.3, making sure I'm back so don't blow your ears out. And now we're going to move on to one of my favorite art songs, and I hadn't sung it here until recently. Well, actually, this is my first time I'm going to sing it in Second Life, you see. There is a poem. Those of you who know me know I love Alice in Wonderland. And there's a poem that is found in the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There, published in 1871. There's a poem in there that Alice can't read until she holds it up to the mirror, and then she's able to read it. Of course, the poem contains a great deal of nonsense words that she can't quite explain. This is, of course, the Jabberwocky. Funny thing is, though, that Lewis Carroll did not write it for Through the Looking Glass. In fact, he had actually written it for about 1 or 2 decades earlier. He published the first, I think, the opening stanza of Jabberwocky in a magazine called Mishmash, which was one of the family magazines that that he wrote with his 10 siblings. Yes, the man had 10 siblings. And he titled it A Stanza of Anglo-Saxon Poetry. Now, of course, Lewis Carroll, born Samuel Dodson, liked to play with words, and he also used words. He wrote poems and words as if they were equations. And in fact, the poem Jabberwocky could very easily be seen as equations that you need to solve, things like Brillig and Mimsy and things of that sort. These are X's that you have to solve by looking at the context of the rest of the poem, which is why it's always so brilliant. But taken at face value, it's also a very spooky poem about a creature with eyes of flame and jaws that bite and claws that catch. And so American composer Lee Hoiby made a thoroughly unsettling musical setting of it, a musical upsetting, so to speak. Now, I have never found anyone who's recorded an accompaniment for it, so I decided to do my own arrangement of the accompaniment using electronic instruments because they're so cool. So, without further ado, I am going to sing now the Jabberwocky. Beware the Jabberwock, my sons.
'Twas brillig and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wind. All the Mimsies where the boggle goes when the mome rats out wave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jab-Jab-Bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time lament some foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in a fish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the toggling wood, and babbled as it came. One, two, and through, the vorpal blade went snicker-snack, snicker-snack. he left it dead, and with his head he went galumphing back. And as I slain the Jabberwock, come to my arms, my babyish boy. Oh, frabjous day, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig and as lithe toves did kind and gimble in the wave. All the mimsies where the bottle grows, when the mome rats out rain.
Okay, I'm glad I did not look at the screen while I was singing, because I probably would have lost it. Alice should eat a Snickers bar. She's not herself when she's hungry. Yeah. You know, that's definitely a commercial that needs to happen now. God damn it, I might turn it into my second t-shirt. Okay. So, moving on with the spoopy music. I have a treat for you. This is a piece I wanted to do for a long time, but I'd never really learned it. Didn't think it was ready yet, but... So, I have sung Franz Schubert for you before. He was one of the preeminent kings of the Lieder form, which is basically German art song. And an art song, let's talk about a very, very educational moment, very briefly. What's the difference between an aria and an art song? Well, an aria usually takes place in an opera or a sacred work. That can happen to like an oratorio. And it's part of a staged or sacred work, and it's usually an individual character reflecting on feelings, emotions, on what has happened, but it is tied to a larger dramatic whole, and that is WHOLE, whereas an art song is usually a self-contained piece of work. It is a poem that the composer either really liked or wrote himself, such in the case of a lot of things by Hoiby, and set to music. Several poems set to music together, they're called song cycles, art song cycles, and are usually sung together or excerpted. So, the Erlkonig, or the Elf King, is a poem by, of course, the very revered Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And it's a creepy poem, creepy as all get out. It depicts the death of a child who's being assailed by a supernatural king, the Elf King, the king of the fairies. It was written by Goethe as part of his 1782 collection, 1782 Singspiel Der Fischerin. And it's been considered Goethe's most famous ballad. It's been set to music by a bajillion people, but the only one that really, really captures the essence of it was the setting by Franz Schubert. Right from the get-go. I called this also the David Del Tredici's Alice pieces. Oh, yes, I gotta love Del Tredici. So the piece, I call this a carpal tunnel, the art song, because the poor pianist, you're going to hear him. Schubert sets the opening of the poem beautifully. The poem starts with an anxious boy who's being carried at night by his father on horseback. They're riding through this darkened forest. Where to? We don't know. But as the poem unfolds, the son claims to see and hear the Elf King whispering to him and promising things, tempting him to come away with him. And his father sort of plays Mr. Gaslighter. He claims that not to hear or see anything, and he tries to comfort the child, coming up with natural explanations for what the child sees. Oh no, hon, no, it's my son. It's just a wisp of fog. It's the rustling leaves. It's the shimmering willows. And the Elf King keeps trying to lure the child into joining him, promising him amusement, rich clothes, the attentions of his daughters who will sing and dance for him. And finally, he loses his patience and says that if the boy will not come willingly, he will take him by force. And then the child shrieks that he has been hurt by the Elf King, and the father gallops faster still. And when they get to their destination, the child is dead. Kind of like Sleepy Hollow. But this is tricky. It's a tricky art song, tricky lead, because you have to sing, the singer has to sing 4 different characters. The narrator, who opens the tale, and then he has to alternate between the voice of the father, the son, and the Elf King. So it's always a tricky thing to portray each distinct character. So without further ado, Franz Schubert's and Goethe's The Erlkonig.
Wer reitet so spät durch Nacht und Wind? Es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. Hat den Knaben wohl in den Arm, fasst ihn sicher, hält ihn warm. Mein Sohn, was wirst du so bang im Gesicht? Sich Vater, du den Erlkonig nicht, den Erlkonig mit Kron und Schweif. Mein Sohn, es ist ein Liebestreif. Liebes Kind, komm, geh mit mir, gar schöne Spiele spiel ich mit dir. Manch bunte Blumen sind an dem Strand, meine Mutter hat manch Hülgen gewandt. Mein Vater, und hörest du nicht, was Erlkonig mir leise verspricht? Sei ruhig, bleibe ruhig, mein Kind, in dürren Blättern seufzt der Wind. Willst feiner Knabe du mir mitgehen, meine Töchter sollen dich warten schön, meine Töchter führen der nächtlichen Rhein und wiegen und tanzen und singen dich ein, sie wiegen und tanzen und singen dich ein. Mein Vater, und siehst du nicht dort, Erlkonig Töchter am düstern Ort? Mein Sohn, ich sehe es genau, erscheinen die alten Weiden so grau. Ich liebe dich, mich reizt eine schöne Gestalt, und bist du nicht willig, so brauch ich Gewalt. Mein Vater, jetzt fasst er mich an. Erlkonig hat mir ein Leid getan. Dem Vater grausest, reitet geschwind, hält in Armen das ächzende Kind. Erreicht den Hof mit Müll und Not. In seinen Armen das Kind war tot.
No, Sylvanus. No, he just dies. The Elf King takes him. And now we have 2 more pieces to go. And this one is another composition by me called La Magdaluna, which is inspired by a ghost story. And so it is a sarabanda, and I hope you will like it. Done again with MuseScore. So I will turn off my microphone and I'll pump up the gain and pump up the jam. Here it goes. And that was La Magdaluna. And now we have come to the end of the program. We have one last piece, one last spooky song to send you off on a good month of October. I will not be here next Saturday because I am singing at Opera on Tap in Denver once more. And it is a spooky concert, and I'll be singing some of the things I have sung today over there. But tomorrow, if you're not doing anything, tomorrow morning around 11 a.m., Second Life time, 12 time Mountain Time, 12 p.m., I will be singing at the Longhouse, which is on that URL. Tomorrow, it is Opera Jukebox. What does that mean? Well, I'll be standing in the middle of a 1950s diner, right next to a jukebox, and there will be a list of arias that you can choose, and I will sing them for you, hopefully. So do come by if you want to play Puppet Master on me. But now I would like to end with a very, very spooky poem. Edwin Arlington Robinson. He wrote many interesting poems. I recommend that you buy a collection of his collected poems because he was a very interesting poet. But one of his most haunting ones is Luke Havergal, where a man is haunted by the voice of his beloved. Crixus had a question. What is the sequencer sound library that you use to make your audio backing tracks with? And so I will answer that here in the public chat for everyone. So for the ones that I compose, I use Muse Score 4 because they have an entirely new sound font catalog that is professional level and it is free. So you can install it. And you can, write on the score, and you will use those high-grade quality backing tracks. All other backing tracks that I have are usually recorded by my accompanist, or I have purchased from accompaniment websites, such as Your Piano Accompaniment, etc. Because I'm not one of those lucky opera singers who can accompany themselves at the piano. And unfortunately, my apartment is too small for a grand piano in here, and I think my neighbors would complain if I had one. But, so, with that answered, John Duke, American composer John Duke, saw this poem. He read this poem, and he was absolutely haunted by it. And he made a beautiful setting of it. I first learned it back when I was as a freshman in college, and I could not do it justice because the range is very challenging. And, when you're a baby opera singer, you don't have the chops. You're learning, and it usually takes about 10 years before you have the vocal chops to tackle something like this. And so without further ado, one of my favorite Halloween classical songs, Luke Havergal by John Duke.
To the western gate, look, Havergal. There where the vines cling crimson on the wall, and in that twilight wait for what will come. Go to the western gate, look, Havergal. The leaves will whisper there of her, and sob like flying words will strike you as they fall. But go, and if you listen, she will call. Go to the western gate, look, Havergal, look, Havergal. go.